Between time, let's just take a moment. Motivational Monday, and as Town always says, we try to, give people little nuggets. Also try to put people in the mind frame and the mindset of things that they can do that allow them to feel a little more positive about not only Monday, but the rest of the week. So we encourage everyone to do things that allow you to, feel as though you're making a difference. You're positively impacting not only your life, but the lives of, the people in your circle and the lives of people around you. In our time to really look at the world right now, it's all on the east because all of those do and don't follow what the aspects of winter is. Winter is when all of the beautiful things go down loud. Everything you think of that sprout look like now dormant because now the time is now the time legs. Now it's the time for strength and all the things that it needs. So when the springtime comes, which will be, see that bloom, you'll see those beautiful flowers, you'll see those beautiful trees. And all of us, it's the same for each and every one of us who come in here and become a part of our Motivational Monday. Now is the time for you to take a good hard look at yourself in the mirror, look at things going on with you and around you. And I always say this: continue to use the things that serve you and hopefully discard the things that don't serve you anymore. Not because they're bad, not because they're, things that you need to feel crazy about. Sometimes you just move into a different space, a different phase of your life. And when you move into those different spaces, different phases, there are different rules that apply that allow you to now be what you're supposed to be. All of us have to take ownership of who we are. God, Almighty being, whatever your universal powers you believe in, understand this: God only makes one of you. Universe only makes one of you. So that means you're one of one, which makes you incredible already. Now, people will say, "Well, you got twins, and all those things are true as well." But even in those cases, there's a slight difference between twins and triplets, quadruplets, and all that. So always understand that you're the best version of you. Will continue to elevate yourself to be the best version. Like I said, this is Motivational Monday. I'm in, just like I said, a good headspace. The weekend was a little funky as far as my sports teams go. My Jets lost, my Giants lost. I'm a big New York fan, for those of y'all who don't know. So I'm New York across the board. That's no disrespect to any other team, any other city, but born and bred in New York. Cheer for where I'm from. But even with that having, been what the situation is today, I'm still in a great mood because it's Monday. The weather's beautiful. We're moving towards the holidays. For those of you who believe in the holidays and have or have not done your holiday shopping just yet, go on and, do what you got to do. And for those of you who didn't, don't stress yourself out. It's just one day. The beauty of the holidays, the beauty of love, is that's supposed to be every day. Yes, we have certain rules and regulations that have made it certain ways. So therefore, as a collective, we think in those, parameters. But if you're an individual, if you're smart, if you, say to yourself, look, I don't have to definitively always apply every aspect of my life to everything as it's stated, you'll see that, it's just another day. If you get presents on the 26th, you get presents on the 30th, get presents on January 5th, it's still presents. We have to stop. We should hopefully start learning how to think of things outside of our normal parameters or the normal parameters that have been set. Like I said, Monday is always just the start of the week. I know so many of us, come off a Sunday and you're kind of like, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do with myself today. I'm supposed to take this day and say, you know what? It's just another day. I got up, I opened my eyes this morning. Thankfully, the health is relatively well and continue to work and make it better. I got beautiful family, I have beautiful friends. Check on somebody. Send a text. Pick up the phone and call somebody. All these things you have no idea how impactful they could be on somebody else's, and then in turn be impactful on your life. One of the things that I've come to grips with is we have to start being humane again, which means checking up on our fellow man, saying thank you, saying please, finding ways to help one another. Because at the end of the day, we all we got. I know everybody's looking and thinking to themselves about what's going on from a governmental standpoint, and I get it. And I understand that there's some pressure there. There's some level of mistrust or level of anxiety. But once you realize that you are all you really need in order to get things done, you don't definitively have to worry about all these other things that you think are so important. The fact that you can brighten somebody's day with a phone call or make somebody's birthday, wish come true or anything. And trust me, a lot of times it's the smallest things that mean the biggest things to so many people. I know we think that, erecting monuments and statues and things like that, are the greatest things that we could possibly do. But I want you to think about this. Most or all of us have had the opportunity at some point to go down to a lake. You ever throw a pebble in the lake and watch all the ripples as it ripples all the way out as far as it can, possibly ripple? That's what kindness does. That's what love does. It has a rippling effect. But that rippling effect is incredible in this regard. It then turns that light on, hopefully, in someone else and allows them to now say, you know what? I could utilize that in my own life. I could utilize that in my own spirit. I could try to implement that in other circumstances, that are close to me or that are around me. And once you start implementing that, you'd be surprised at how quickly it takes off or it has legs of its own. And before you know it, you have nothing but love free flowing. And because the love is now free flowing, you have this body of energy that no matter what you're asking for, no matter what you're looking to do, it seems to be happening real time and so quickly. But it's because you set the tone. And once you set that tone, once you allow yourself to, have that bar, nothing else in the world is going to stop that. You just got to believe, you got to know that, I know that there are times when we all have moments where we have doubt, where we're unsure about things, but that's supposed to happen. If you don't have doubt, if you're not unsure about things, then you may or may not be on the right path, because that's what continues to motivate you to move forward. You have to have those moments when you think to yourself, is this quite right? Am I doing the right thing? Am I saying the right things? And here's the thing. This is me, speaking from my perspective. I don't perceive there to be such a thing as total perfection. I think we live in an imperfect world. If you look at what's going on, obviously, or what's going on now over the last 9-10 months, we've had a number of our entertainers who we have, grown to love and admire and enjoy. And you see them now in lives and things like that, and they look unkept and, not pampered like we used to seeing. And the thing about that isn't that they're not pampered or not kept. The thing is, you're looking at people who are now in their most natural state. We all have natural states. It doesn't mean you're not beautiful. It doesn't mean you're not smart. It doesn't mean you don't have something to contribute. It just means you're in your natural state. And usually your natural state is probably the best state and format to be in, because that's when you're able to learn, take in the most. That's when you're able to grow from, the things that you hear, see. Motivational Monday, I always, make mention of, for me, it's music, but comedy, just beauty in general. I love looking out and seeing what looks like great landscapes. So sometimes if I'm out and about, I'll see a specific night, scene, and I go to myself, wow, that's beautiful. Each and every person has their own level of what they perceive beauty to be. So for some people, it may be food, which is why people love taking pictures of their food at restaurants and things like that, which is okay. But you got to be honest with yourself about what your motivation is. You have to be honest with yourself about what's beautiful to you. You have to be honest with yourself about what makes sense to you. And here's the thing, it won't make sense to somebody else. It's okay. We need everyone's perspective in order to make this thing be the great thing that we want it to be. Every single solitary person's perspective. We need for each and every one of us to comment from time to time on our friends' posts, even if it's something that you may or may not like. You don't have to say something derogatory. You might just hit like because unbeknownst to you, that might be the one like they've been looking for, the one like they've been waiting for. It may not be even your cup of tea. Okay. That doesn't mean that it's not somebody else's cup of tea. Doesn't mean it's not somebody else's motivation. It doesn't mean it's not somebody else's thing that, keeps them going. We have to do a better job of understanding that perspectives are just that. It's perspectives. Nothing is right or wrong. Nothing is black and white. Everything is gray areas. Why? Because each and every one of us have had different experiences, usually leading up to specific things. And when you have different moments where different things happen, your perspective on something is going to be different from somebody else's who may or may not have had those same circumstances. Again, okay, but we have to do a better job of learning how to push each other forward, learning how to congratulate them. I don't care if it's graduations, birthdays, whatever celebration it is. It's something to be, feel good about. If you spend your whole life being frustrated, being mad, pigeonholing yourself with doubt, I say this all the time. This is something I learned from one of my older brothers. When you put certain energy into the universe, and it could be through your words, it could be through your train of thought, that energy is now in the universe. The universe has no choice but to send it back to you. So that's why it behooves all of us to try to put forth as much positive thoughts, as much positive words, as much positive actions as possible, because the universe is trying to return it to you. I know that, people have been trained to believe, certain ideologies, and I'm not here to change that. But for those of us who are suffering, whether it be cancer, whether it be, whatever ailments people are dealing with, a lot of it has to do with your train of thought. Yes, they tell you wonderful things like it runs in your family. For me personally, this is how I feel about the ideology of things running in your family. If high blood pressure was something that ran in your family, as a baby, you'd have high blood pressure. Do you have high blood pressure as a baby? No. You have cancer as a baby? No. Well, some, children do, some people do. But my point is, those are things that we eventually find as part of our reality. One, from hearing about it all the time, taking that in, processing that information. And then two, from a lot of the choices and decisions that we make. Motivational Monday also has to be about what you're putting in your body. It isn't only about what you read, what you see on TV, what you listen to. You have to also be very diligent and vigilant about what you put in your body. I know people will say things like, yo, but it's not fair. It's not about being fair. It's about you taking a stand and taking an opportunity to understand that this body that you have is the greatest computer that's ever been invented. Think about it. When you are driving in a car, for those who drive, you ever go into a dark tunnel and your eyes adjust to the lighting of the tunnel, the lighting of your shades, and all that in split seconds? Think about how incredible that is. But we don't think about it because for most of us, we just assume and we take it for granted. That's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just a reality thing. But even with it being that, we have to now start to say to ourselves, especially as you get to certain age levels, you can't do the things that you used to do. I laugh about it now. I'm 51 years old. And I always laugh about this. You got friends, yo, you should still play ball and this and that. No, I'm not doing it. Tearing an ACL now is a 7-year healing process. Nobody got time for that. Nobody got time for that. I'm gonna be honest with myself. I ain't got time for that. What I do have time for, though, is getting on these lives and having the opportunity to share wonderful information with each and every one of you, and hopefully having you take that information and either put it in your toolbox for later use, or then take that information and share it amongst your circle. Because the more we share information, especially information that should be positive, impactful, and empowering, then how can you lose? We quick to, share negative things. We all know it. We've all seen it. The different social media platforms are stocked full of interesting things that sometimes you go, how is this going viral? But at the same time, there's an innate need in each and every one of us to see something that we feel or think is detrimental to someone else. That's a reality. But again, own it. it kills me when people go, oh, well, I ain't really like that. We all are, and it's okay. The thing is, though, you shouldn't stay there. You shouldn't keep that energy going all the time. You should take a moment and go, what else, can I do to counteract that? In this world, we always say that, there's opposites. There's light and dark. There's yin and yang. There's plugs. There's sockets. So there's always an opposite reaction to every reaction. So we have to do our due diligence and figure out ways to counterbalance some of the, negativity that we allow into our psyche, we allow into our bodies, that we allow into our energy. All of us are energetic beings, every last single person. And I know some of y'all say, no, I'm not. You ever go to touch a light switch and if it has metal around the light switch, you get shocked? Your energy. That's why that happens. It's just your energy is higher than most because you're probably doing things that allow your body to process properly, allows your body to do things that it needs to do in terms of being able to ensure that you're in the best shape possible, that you're in the best health and energy possible. But when you're not doing those things, that's when you find yourself vibrating to things that lead to, low vibratory situations. Like I said, those are the ailments and illnesses that you see and hear your people getting into. Now, again, I'm here to, motivate. I want everybody to, like I said, always feel good and always just think, as positive as you can. But sometimes that means you also have to maybe limit the people in your circles who may be negative. Doesn't mean you don't like them. And that could be friend, family, or foe. It doesn't make a difference. That doesn't make it a good or bad thing. Look, the people in our lives are there for reasons. They're there to teach us things. They're there to help us see and understand things. And we have to be mindful of that. It always kills me. I don't mess with this person. I don't mess with that person. You mess with that person your whole life. They've made some decisions that probably are detrimental to them. You didn't make those decisions. As a kid, I always make people laugh. I was a loner to some degree in this regard. If all my boys was going to the right, I was always the kid that went to the left. Not because I thought I was smarter or better, but sometimes I would hear whatever activity they get ready to get into, and I would think to myself, that probably is not going to work out the way that we think. So let me go over here and I'll just watch from the sidelines and see how that plays out. Usually it worked out or played out the way that I thought. And usually the guys came back later and go, son, I should have went with you. And I always tell my friends, I said, it's not about going with, somebody or not going with somebody. Each and every one of us have an innate compass within us. Some call it intuition. It goes by several and many names. But y'all know when it is. You know when you feel something in your spirit and it isn't right. Listen, the body, your mind, your spirit gave you that energy for a reason. Listen to it. Utilize it. It doesn't make you wrong because you decide not to go along with status quo. Doesn't make you wrong. It means you found this particular situation to not sit well with your spirit. And that's okay. Because the more things don't sit well with your spirit, the more you'll start to investigate, the more you'll start to utilize your energies and your spirit to figure out things in a way that does make sense to you. And then hopefully share that information with, again, those in your circle. So many of us, have amazing friends who are doing businesses, who are doing, IG lives. We don't get on, we don't support. Oh, he's talking about something positive. If I was on here talking about all kind of negative stuff and trying to, denounce people and say bad things about people, it seems like you get 1 million watches or 1 million views and likes. And I get it. But at the end of the day, like I said, is that really what you want? Is that really what you want? That does not. Hello? I hope you guys can hear me. I'm sorry. My earphones went out for a second. So I hope that, you guys are, taking and understanding that any and all of this is just an opportunity. And every Monday, every start to your week is an opportunity to reset yourself, to rebuild, to look at the week's events. Sometimes you can, maybe you only go a couple of days, you only go a couple of hours and realize that there's some things off. And you reset yourself. And that's okay. Sometimes resetting yourself means even cutting yourself off from the people who you love, and the people that love you. Doesn't mean that you, what you call it. I always liken it to when you ride on a plane. I say this all the time. Y'all think about this. Whenever you ride on a plane, they always tell you when they're doing the beautiful announcements, when the mask drops down, please put your mask on first and then start assisting others. How are you going to help somebody if you haven't helped yourself? So many of us out here, we, got our hands in a million things. I'm over here helping this, over here doing this for that one. And that's great. But if you're not taking care of you, if you're not helping yourself, then how is that helpful? How is that impactful? How does it even put you in a position to really do what you hope or have the impact that you hope to have? We have to start looking from within, working on that, and let that reflect out onto the world. Because the more you do that, trust and believe, and I tell you, the impact and the beauty that you'll see from it is priceless. It's priceless. Like I said, I'm out here in Vegas again today. Like I said, it's maybe 67 degrees, almost 70 degrees right now. Absolutely beautiful day. I know y'all can see, some of the, what you call it, behind me, but look at how beautiful that sky is. Look how beautiful that sky is. So how could you not come outside and just enjoy that? How could you not appreciate that? And again, it's not what's going on in the East Coast because it's cold there, different things going on, as it is around the country. But my point is, we have to start embracing, have to start being happy about what our circumstances are, so that then we can improve those circumstances and build on those circumstances. I know for so many people that's hard to do because the moment something goes wrong, it's easy to go to the negative place. It's easy to say that this doesn't have a silver lining. This doesn't make sense. But the best thing that we could do is understand that everything has a silver lining. Everything has a wonderful ending. It's just according to what you want to do with it. It's according to what you feel and see for yourself. Don't allow other people and other things to dampen your light or to dim your light. Everybody on here has an amazing light that the world is witnessing. So all of y'all on here have books that you haven't written yet, have stories that you haven't told yet, movies that you haven't written yet. This slowdown pandemic, whatever you want to call it, that's what this was about. I've been saying this since the first day all of this happened. This was an opportunity for you to rediscover even the talents that you've forgotten that you had. How many people have picked up writing again? How many people have started doing art again, who used to do art all the time? Whatever it is, we have to get back to understanding that doing what it is that makes your spirit sing, doing what it is that makes the world make sense to you, that's what you're supposed to be doing. I'm not saying quit your jobs. I'm not saying don't, continue to do the things that you need to do in order to take care of yourselves and your families. But I'm saying tie into the things that always used to make you smile, the things that always used to make you happy. It's Christmas time. For me, puzzles are a big thing for me. So somewhere here in the next couple of days, I got to get myself a puzzle so that I could do my thing with puzzles. Because for me, puzzles are one of those things that allows my brain to go into places where I need to go so that I can always figure things out. But this is a system that my mom put in place since I was a kid. She would always get like this big puzzle for myself and for our family. We'd all sit around and we'd all do our little pieces. And for all of y'all who know what puzzles look like, you got trees, you got bushes, you got grass, you got sky. And somebody each family member takes a different part. And once you finish the puzzle and you step back, you got this whole beautiful picture that everybody's contributed to. That's what Motivational Monday is. Your contribution to the world, your ability to figure out what that is that you turn on, and now the world tunes into and goes, yeah, I'm rocking with you. I understand. I feel you. You know what I mean? Talent.
Yes,
Welcome,
sir. Hey, man, I ain't want to say nothing. It was flowing so good, dropping jewel. I was like, let it go. Just let that ride out.
I'm doing the best that I can, brother. For some reason, I can't hear you. I got to figure out how to get the voice back on. So give me a minute because my mic is acting up.
I hear you clearly. Let me just say this. And first and foremost, apologies, everybody coming in late. It's a big day for the NBA. The NBA new season getting ready to start. So the NBA's Player Association is doing their holiday gala, which I had to host. So I'm popping here late, but my co-host, I see, been holding it down. Amir, can you hear me now? Pop them in, back in and out. And the sound should come right back in. I apologize for all that. That's all my fault.
Go back to the head.
Can you hear me?
Okay, I think I got you now.
Okay, you got me?
Can you hear me? Yeah, I got you.
So did I miss Jeff Fox?
No, I
Okay.
did not bring him in, so we could bring in Jeff now.
Yeah, if Jeff's in the studio, bring him in, man. I hope I didn't miss him. I know I told him about 10 minutes in, but we probably missed him. Ain't no telling. Anyway, welcome back to Motivational Mondays. A few minutes into the segment. Shout out to my man Amir Silly, my co-host or whatever. Special guest is supposed to be this week. The incomparable. I always like to refer to this guy. Back in the day, they called him the fox that rocks the box.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Fast forward, I'm just gonna go on a limb and say maybe Jeff been on radio 40 years, right? I even working with him 10 of those 40. Once I seen what he do and how he could do it, how good he was, I was like, dude, you remind me, because people thought I was good in radio. I wasn't good. My situation was good. So I was really like the Scottie Pippen. This guy was the Michael Jordan.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So Jeff Fox was that to radio. I thought it'd be great to have him on the show, Motivation Monday, because he has a new situation coming in 2 weeks will be in a new year.
Okay.
Not even 2 weeks. And he has a new situation. I wanted to talk about it because you know how I do on Motivation Monday. Motivation Monday, I try to find any reason to either tell you how to motivate, show you how to motivate, or bring someone on that you can see with your very own eyes and ears that is motivated in the middle of this, whatever we want to call this hoopla. You know what I mean? What points did you touch on before I got it?
Okay, so I touched on the fact that Motivational Mondays is always about just that, being motivated, utilizing, different formats to motivate yourself, everything from music to cooking to pictures, whatever it is. I was explaining to everybody, please utilize each and everything that means something to you, even if it means going back to talents that you had as a kid that you might have forgotten. This pandemic should have gotten people back into things that they've forgotten that they used to love to do, cooking, art, could be comedy, whatever it is. But it should have gotten you back in that energy. And once you've gotten back in that energy, you found your comfort zone again, and you kind of feel zen-like, okay, wait a minute, I'm kind of in a good space. And the more you get into that good space, I was saying, then you take that and then you share it with your circle, so that this way now it's helping to turn on that light in your circle. So then now those people are saying to themselves, what things can I do that allow me to, be a light to the people in my circle, and so forth and so on. You know what I mean? So
no, I exactly know what you mean. So you hit all the points that we normally hit on the regular. I want to bring up another point. So now, I guess we're supposed to be motivated. All of us Joe Schmoes, working class people. I guess we're supposed to be motivated, Mir, starting next week because they're talking about giving us $600 in stimulus.
Ooh, okay. So
now, mind you, the first stimulus took 8 months ago was $1,200. Now they done fought that down to $600. What do you expect a family to do? $600.
With $600, you know what? So here's what's, and this is again me just being transparent about some stuff. So as a kid, we grew up in the Bronx, 2000 Valentine Avenue.
Right.
And the name of our project was called Twin Parks.
Okay.
And I remember as a kid, obviously your parents take care of the rent. And I'll never forget that one time my dad and my mom asked me to go pay the rent. So, when you live in the project, they got what they call a renter's office, so forth and so on. As a kid, everything seems grand to you. The reason why I'm, utilizing this story is because I remember going to pay the rent, and the rent was $550. That was a rent at that particular time. I don't know how old I was or whatever, but it was $550. I know rent has tripled since then, just to be clear. So again, what is $600 going to do when that doesn't cover rent? It doesn't cover food. It doesn't cover shelter. It doesn't cover clothing. And the real tragedy in all of this is, on the grand scheme of things, we have these wonderful people who say we're the wealthiest country in the world.
Yes.
We're the standard, quote unquote, for so many
Yes.
things. And
True.
then you turn around and you do something like this to, again, the foundation of what this country is, because the people who you are going to be giving this $600 to, these are, quote unquote, really the essential workers across the board. Yes, you have what people have deemed the essential workers, meaning the people who are postal and transit and so forth and so on. But the people who restock your shelves at the supermarket, the people
Right.
who working at
Right.
Walmart, those are all essential workers too. The problem is, and you and I have, talked about this, is again, wording is one of those things that for our country, they utilize because it makes them feel good. So to the point that you just made about the 600, the common man is going to get 600. Meanwhile, corporations have gotten billions during the same slowdown that we're dealing with. And I'm not talking about, I didn't say millions, I said billions. So let me understand this. They needed billions to be able to bail themselves out and to be able to sustain and be able to maintain. And 600 is going to help you and I supposedly do that.
What the hell is? Let me explain something. First of all, $600, man. You know what kills me? The people who decide on this. It wouldn't be so bad. It's bad, but it wouldn't be so bad if the people who decided on what we're talking about live within these guidelines and means. If this was a group of people who made a certain amount, who got by on $300-400 for months on end, because keep in mind, this ain't a monthly check. This is supposed to handle 6-7 months, because that's the last time you cut a check. So if you was someone who was able to finagle that and show me, see, you just gotta not go crazy. You can get it done for $450. But this is being decided by a group of people who couldn't live within $600 range if the fucking gun was at their head.
Amazingly enough,
But you turn it on these people and say, I don't understand
why
why
are
you
you
can't do it.
struggling with it?
Right.
Isn't that the most amazing thing? And I've always said this, and I touched on this too, earlier. I said we have got to understand that it's up to each and every one of us to sustain ourselves. If we're looking for governmental help or anything like that, I'm not here to tell y'all to be against the government. I know some of y'all have family and friends that work there, so I get it. But what I'm saying to you is they're a different team. They're a different team, y'all. Y'all have to understand that they're a different team. They play different. They play by different rules. To Talent's point, the same people who are making these rules about what's supposed to sustain us, these are
Right.
people who have continuous free healthcare for life. They have resources and things that we're not even privy to. But you're going to tell, like I said, the average person that, yes, this is supposed to help make up for the fact that you're possibly behind 3 or 4 months in rent. God knows, whether or not you, like I said, have been able to really eat properly under the circumstances. And let's not factor in any medical bills or anything else that might have happened, because people are still
Hello.
dealing with those situations as well during
Hello.
this, situation. So, what troubles me is when we do see these other uh, references to other countries around the world who, when you look at those numbers, are pretty incredible in terms of what they're able to do for their citizens versus what they're doing for us here. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not in government, so I'm not, I will say this. I do believe that the government works based off of, if I go along with Talent's program, then Talent will go along with my program. I do believe that. The problem is usually that's not what's happening. So then we got this freeze and we got this whole, situation where everybody's stuck in the middle because these two factions are, going to use ego right now.
Right.
I don't understand how or why, as a country and as human beings, you would play with people's lives like that. These are people in a lot of cases, and especially when you start talking about a lot of the elders in our communities, these are people who have come through various struggles in this country's time and have more than put in the time, the effort, and the work so that they shouldn't have to get to this point. and be
Right.
told we don't care about you. That's the way I feel and see it. I'm not, saying that everybody has to sit there. I'm just telling you how, what I think. I was, interestingly enough, today I was looking at something. Sagittarius season, is still in full effect. I
Right.
happen to know a ton of them. And the weird thing about knowing it, no, but here's what's so crazy to you. This is a true story. In this year, more so than any other year, I didn't know that there were that many Sagittarians, not only that I know personally, but also, in the entertainment industry, like Samuel L. Jackson's birthday is today. Regina
Right.
Hall's a Sagittarian. The list goes on and on and on. But as I was looking at that, I said, well, let me see who's in the Capricorn section because they're on deck next. So you got Michelle Obama, who's a Capricorn, Denzel's a Capricorn, Tyrese, Betty White, James Earl Jones. But the reason why I bring up those people, Betty White's going to be, I think, 99 this year or some wild number like that. James Earl Jones,
Wow.
it's some crazy number like that. And James Earl Jones is going to be 90. And
Nice.
what I'm saying is these are people, though, who have contributed to the fabric of this country and to each and every one of us. Now, they probably in better situations than most, obviously based off of, what their lives have allowed them to go through to this point. But my point is, for the elderly lady who lives in your neighborhood who might have been a freedom fighter, for the
Right.
elderly lady who lives in your neighborhood who might have fought for education so that your kids can now, go through the educational system in a way that now allows them to be educated properly.
Right.
Where's the love for them? Where's the love for them? What are we doing? That's what scares me. That's what hurts me about any and all of this is understanding and seeing that and knowing that we don't have any control over that. Like, what part of the game is that?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. This is Motivation Monday. We're trying to keep people motivated, but we are pointing out some things that may stagnate that or hinder that progress of that motivation. I try to come on with the whole, hey, maybe people are going to be motivated because they're getting a couple of bucks coming, right? But the reality of it is sometimes getting something, depending on how it's given to you and what it is, could motivate you in reverse. Make you go in the way of, oh, they got a check for you. But well, how much is it? Boom. Now you mad at the check. Why is it that? They took 7 extra months. Why is it this? Why is it that? So you meant to motivate a person, like, okay, I got a check. Let me get out there and stimulate the economy and get it going. You don't have that in you. I could put that next to and analyzing an analogy of this new vaccine. You got a vaccine you're pushing on people. They're supposed to be motivated to hurry up and run and go and get that vaccine. But then you do stuff in my face that kind of push the motivation in reverse. You got a new vaccine. You want me to go and take it. But the person who made it didn't take it.
What part of the game is that? And when you get beyond, not only that, but just the idea that, again, and I touched on this, like you said, before you came on, please do your due diligence. Understand that everything that you see and hear may or may not, be something that you need to get on board with. It's okay. It's okay to say, I'm not on board with that. We can't continue to ostracize one another.
It's just that simple, Amir. And let me stop you real quick because our guest finally came in. I thought we was going to be interviewing Jeff Fox. Ladies and gentlemen, Easy E is back from the dead from NW. Fox, what's up, Fox?
Yes, sir.
What's up, man? What's up, T?
Hey, what's going on, Jeff?
Let me
Good
back
to
up.
see
Let
you.
me give an intro because I owe this man so much, right? I'm going to say this to Jeff. If I had $1 for every interview that goes, hey, do you like radio? And I got to stop and say, I don't know. And people look at me like, the hell you don't know. I love my situation in radio. I got to work with the baddest dude in radio, Jeff Fox, a.k.a., as Coogee Rap would say, Fox that rock the motherfucking box.
Yes.
Welcome
Yes.
to the show, Jeff Fox.
Thank you. Happy holidays, man.
Happy holidays, Jeff.
Yo, you owe all your holidays to Amir. He owes me the appreciation of his chimney and his holidays to me.
Yeah,
This dude used to call me when he heard a blizzard was coming. He cursed the world out. Fucking blizzard, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, hey, man, I love this stuff. He said, no. I said, yeah, put it this way. You get to enjoy your house.
That's right.
They call a snow day, nothing moving, call out from work. You get to light that fireplace,
That's
play
right.
the screen TV, all that. Jeff took 5 minutes, looked back at me, said, I ain't never look at it like that.
You're right. You're right. Enjoy your house, TV, and the flat screen, whatever you got. Is put the cookies in the oven and have a good time.
Because
Yes,
I grew up a math major, and I did the numbers, man. I said, yo, we busting our ass. We entertainers. We go out there working night after night, whatever. We buying all these things we like, but we seldom have the time
To enjoy
to
it.
sit down and enjoy what we bought.
That's right. You're right. I can't tell how many times I walk by the television and say, I'm gonna watch it. I'm watching it tonight. You got a plan. You got a plan to watch it. All right, tonight's tonight. Some things I want to see. As soon as you get in, Amir, as soon as you get in the chair, I'm watching this shit tonight. Some shit I want to see.
Sleep. True story, sir. True story. True story.
I'm watching this shit tonight.
True story.
You just gave me a good joke. You know it's bullshit when we gotta say it out loud first. There's no reason to say it out loud. I'm watching this shit. Nobody even asked you. Oh man, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, but this is what happens every time Jeff and I get together. Now, Jeff, tell people what year you started radio, man.
I think about 79, 78,
Wow.
70, 78, 79, somewhere in there.
Can I ask you why?
By accident.
What do you mean?
But I was doing some theater. I was doing a lot of theater. I was in I was into it, man. I was doing play after play after play.
Oh, wow.
I'm supposed to be that dude, you know?
Right.
Okay.
I'm supposed to be on stage, all this.
Got you. No.
That
Look.
dude. You know? And so one summer, there was a program through the Carter administration, Jimmy Carter. They said he wasn't a good president. I thought he was good because he let those programs in the inner city so the kids could make money.
Right.
Okay.
So they had a program where they would pay you to do some acting. And I was working with a troupe out in the middle of Ohio, the middle of nowhere, and we were acting like we were pioneers from the 1800s.
Okay.
Was the problem with that. Because if slave, I was a free slave.
Wow.
I have problems playing slaves. I can't play the slave. I don't know how. I have problems playing slaves. You know, I just don't have, I have problems. They want you to talk a certain way, right? So I came into the village. I was like, let me see if I get some milk. A little bit of that cheese. You got some.
None of the dialogue. You remixing. Jeff Fox was remixing back then.
Yeah, they tell me, no, he wouldn't talk like that. I said, why not? Why not? So next day, you know, they tried to direct me, and I just couldn't go there. You know what I mean? It didn't matter what it was. Look, the wheel on my wagon is broke. Is there any way that you can replace that by 3? Please hurry, because the crops.
He was a horrible slave.
I got to get the crops in by harvest. And harvest, as we all know, is coming.
Hey, there go me, Jeff. Jeff, this is me. If I'm your director, Fox, Fox. I'm not hearing the struggle.
So needless to say, I quit that job. I went back to the lady. I said, look, I'm having problems. I never thought I'd leave a paying job. I just can't play slave. I'm sorry. You know, what you got? And what else you got? She said, well, we got plumbing, carpenter. You could be carpenter, welder. That's nice. Broadcasting, electrician, mason work. Hey, what's that broadcasting thing? What is that? Well, we're going to see the broadcast school, and, you know, they'll pay you to go to school for broadcasting. I said, that sounds fun.
Wow.
And that's how it happened.
You know, Jeff, it's funny that you bring that up because, you know, to your point, from what I understand, they said, especially like you said, during that administration, and you know, obviously you fast forward to where we are now, they said the school system and the inner city had so many more programs that did, like you said, allow us to go off into, you know, different phases that now they phased out, you know.
Man, when I was in school, that's why I'm playing this now. And stuff. When I came up, everybody was playing one of these. Bands, all kind of bands, and kids were playing music, and there was all kind of social programs for kids to do stuff and learn stuff. You know, I don't see nearly the stuff like that now.
Well, let me ask you a question, Jeff. For people like me, right? When and I've been listening to 40 plus years already of being 51, but to me, when I see everybody and the kind of damn near work with everybody and met them, you still stand out as the top tier of this thing, right? So it makes me want to ask you, is there a guy before you that you look to? Or, you know what I mean? Like an innovator, or were you the innovator?
Yeah, there was some cats, you know, that I used to look up to in radio. There was most of those older dudes, man, all those guys that came up in the early 70s, those were the real jocks. You know, though they were, you know, all of them, you know, even before Frankie, you know, those guys, you know, and every market had those jocks that on those AM radio stations that talk after every song, had a little 5-second lip that can work magic within 5 seconds.
Give me the Jeff Fox top 5.
Okay. There was a guy out in Cleveland called Mike Payne.
I know
he was a great jock. A lot. If you remember the Leon Isaac Kennedy movies.
Yes.
He married Jane Kennedy.
Yeah.
He was a jock. He was a jock. Wow. He was a jock in Cleveland. He was way before his time. He was doing TV shows and all that stuff way back in the early 70s. He was a great jock. You know what I mean? You know, and then you got to go around the country and different cities had a cat out of Chicago called the BBD Banana. He was a great jock. You know, all of those guys were, and then there was some white jocks, you know, that I got into. Like he was crazy. He got crazy as time went on, but in the beginning, he was mad creative. Cat named Grease Man. You know, and he used to do a lot of the bits and stuff that we was doing, talent. That's why I got a lot of that stuff. I used to love that cat stuff he was doing. I used to love Rick Dees. I thought Rick Dees was a good jock. You know, he used to do the top 40 countdown, and he had all this magic stuff. I like the bits and the features and stuff that you do. Yeah, because I was never cool. I was never gonna be Venus Flytrap. You know what I'm saying?
No,
I tried.
I understand. Yeah,
that wasn't me. You know what I mean? So we just started. So I started listening to a lot of pop radio, zany dudes, and they would look like they were having. It would look like you had more fun laughing than being cool. Cool just not fun. Cool.
They did.
How much fun is cool? This is cool.
Wow. Okay. Let me ask you this, Jeff. I mean, again, like you said, you haven't been, you know, in radio as long as you have. Do you think that, you know, because you have a distinctive voice, Frankie Crocker had a distinctive voice, you know, so forth and so on. And it seems like, to me, a lot of the guys that, I then came to either know or really understanding the game, had just distinctive voices. Like you guys don't sound like everybody else. You have something about your voice that just
You know what that is?
definitely separates you from
All that is just the chair. If you sit in that chair for that long period of time, people gonna think your voice is different. That's just like if you took a grapefruit and you put a regular grapefruit and you put it on TV in the Macy's window and just left it there every night on TV, that grapefruit would be on TV. And then you walk by that window, and that's that grapefruit that's on TV.
You see? He answered your question, Amir.
Yeah.
Is that chair? So it's hemorrhoids is what is the difference in the voice.
Yeah. If you sit there long enough, everybody think it's special, but it really ain't. They just used to hearing you like that.
Okay.
And then you bring your stuff, but it's the chair.
And let me tell you something, Amir. I'm gonna give you a quick story, right? This how dope Jeff is. So we're in there. We have an interview coming up with Stevie Wonder. I've never been in a room with Stevie Wonder. You know what I mean? But being sidekick to this Jordan, being Pippin, now I'm privy. So I gotta act like it ain't nothing. Yeah, Stevie Wonder. So Jeff come over to me. He said Stevie's in the building. They bringing him up. Jeff come about 5-10 minutes before Stevie get in. Jeff said, "Yeah, I'll tell you something. Stevie could see." So I said, "What?" He said, "He's not all the way. I don't care. They say he's blind, but he could see." So I'm laughing as a comedian. That's okay. But I'm telling you, he said, "But I'm telling you something. He gonna do something to make you understand he can see." Stevie coming in. They got the keyboard set up. Jeff got his bass like he do right now. They're about to play together in and out of these breaks. Stevie come in. They close the door. Now, mind you, all his side gigs, all the managers, all of them, they outside the studio. It's just Stevie grab a chair, sit down, like me and you, Amir. Like he been here before. Just boom. So I look at Jeff, look at me. They go into, hey, Stevie wants to say a few words. When we come back out of this break, me and Stevie gonna play Ribbon in the Sky right after these messages. They go to commercial. God is my witness. Stevie stand up. Walking around the studio, start coming to me. Not this. He ain't touching shit.
He ain't doing none of that. He ain't doing none of that.
Yeah, he get right maybe 8 inches before he could touch me and just go, okay, we're going back up. And we was come back and jet back to the seat, sat down. None of this touching me.
Yeah.
Scared the shit out of me. I can't even get on the plane with chicks with seeing eyes.
Wow.
You remember that?
Wow.
I'll never forget that. The reason why I know he can see, I was at an event and everybody was lined up to take pictures with Stevie. And you come up, you stand next to Stevie, you take your picture, then you move on. I was with Ken Webb. We came up, we took the picture, and Stevie started talking, this Kenny, and they just talking and talking and talking. And I'm standing next to Stevie, and I move a little bit over to the right, and they just talking, a lot of people around. And don't give me that he could feel stuff, because there was a lot of people around, and I'm right here, and I'm just talking and talking and talking. 10 minutes, 15 minutes go by. Stevie shouldn't even think I was still there. Noise, there was all kind of speakers and sound. So it wasn't like he could hear you. And I just quietly stepped away. And Stevie say, "I see you later, Jeff." What the hell? Huh?
Wow.
Stevie can see, man.
Wow.
Just like that. And I see you later, Jeff. Oh.
Wow.
I was like, yeah.
Oh my God. Hey, Jeff,
Good
man,
gimmick. Good gimmick. I like the gimmick.
I just want to applaud you, brother, and give you flowers while you're here. Now, that's all great memories. Jeff Fox is one of the best at reinventing himself and keeping it moving and being relevant with everybody. So now we got the new Jeff Fox show. Tell us about the show and where it is? Because I understand it's in more than one mall.
Oh yeah. So in 2003, we were doing the Wake Up Club.
Mm-hmm.
Talent, Shayla, Bob, everybody. We having a ball. And so we would get these different features that we bring on, make the show hot. So on Thursdays, I brought a cat on named Michael Baisden, who I started off in radio back in '96. He was writing these books, relationship books. People like to talk. So I said, come on the show, let's light up the lines. And so when we finally got to the morning show in 2003, I invited them to come back on our show every Thursday at 8:00, so we could do these relationship talk for an hour. It was hot. People calling up.
Yeah.
And somehow the powers that be decided to syndicate Michael with the ABC networks instead of us.
Wow.
So Michael got that opportunity, and he blew up with it. He got about 88 stations at that time. And, then as time went on, I didn't really see him as much. And then through the years, things happened, and he left and came back and left and came back and this, that, and the other. So he was still syndicated up until about 3 weeks ago. He was with a small syndicated operation, medium size, and he decided to walk away. And I got the call to pick up that show. So starting on the 4th of January, it's going to be the Jeff Fox show across the country.
Yes. Congratulations, Jeff.
My boy going to get up in there. We're going to get that happening. So we're going to be back together real soon.
We know we're gonna make history again, brother. You are, and I don't say this to be saying it. I'm tough on criticizing stuff and giving people their accolades, but you're the best that ever did it, brother.
We have fun.
The best that ever did it, man.
They don't know how much of a genius this cat is. That we use, and I know his secret weapon. You know what his secret weapon is, Amir?
What's it, Jeff?
Make his mind work? Sunflowers.
Get rid of this guy, Jeff Fox, the Fox that rocks the Fox. Producer, take him out.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. Always giving us those credits, brother. Salute to you.
About that, George Wallace,
Jeff.
I see you.
Yes.
Oh, man. Oh boy, that dude, and it's true.
That's funny.
How you gonna
tell
my secret like that? That's like if Superman's my boy, I'm like, slide a little kryptonite. I done snitched. So you know what? I can't deal with it no more. That's the last interview. Anyway, I would like to say thank you to Jeff. I'm very proud of him. It was very important for me to bring him on here because he's on the cusp of reinventing himself, probably the 5th or 6th time. That is, come on, dude. That's
motivation. That's motivation.
You already know where I'm going with it.
Yeah,
that's impossible, impeccable, and more importantly, if you need any inkling of motivation, this is why I try to throw on the show. When I need people to understand, when I ask people to come on here, this is why Amir sits here as a permanent fixture with me, because he's a motivator like myself. He's a positive brother that is all about us. The reason the people I bring on here, you got to understand, it's going to link some form of fashion into motivation and positivity. This is all we're trying to do here. We're not trying to knock anybody, disrespect anybody. That's not what we do here. We come in here to remind ourselves on a weekly basis, at a reasonable hour, we bad people in the goodest way. We some bad individuals, man. We have persevered and pushed through more than the average can even think of. And we're still here. That brother right there, you know how many times, and I've only been around him maybe a quarter of it. And I've watched in the quarter I've been around, I watched people come around 3, 4, 5 times trying to shut him down and knock him down and suck the positivity and ingenuity out of him so that he would just buckle and say, you know what, my time's on to the next. No, every genre of entertainment and any form of information, we need the guards, the original guards as a show, the old guard. We need the old guard to stay in place to teach and preach and form the new guard. So that we do the same thing that's right, but under a younger and bigger energy as you come in and I go out. Just that simple.
Yes, and like you said, Jeff represents that. I've had the pleasure of being around him on numerous occasions, not only like you said in that realm, but as a musician. It was an event that I used to go to in the city that his band was the main thing for the event, and that's a bad man. He's nothing to play with on that bass guitar. He's official tissue. Him and his whole band they are serious. So like you said, the reinventing, like I mentioned earlier, the taking stock of, the utilizing things that work, getting rid of things that don't work, or augmenting the things that don't work to make them work. That's all a part of what Motivational Monday is about each and every week. Take that moment, look at each and everything that you go through. I don't care what it is, if it has to do with your friends, has to do with your kids, has to do with your significant other, has to do with your husband, has to do with your wife, has to do with your side piece, whatever. Look at those things, figure out what things actually work and make sense. Keep doing those things. Either totally get rid of the things that don't work or tweak the things that don't work so that they do work and so that they do add value and empower you. Our jobs here, like I said, each and every week is to empower one another. And that's through words, that's through actions, and that's through just taking a moment to, like I said, share a text message, a phone call. Again, you have no idea. I've had so many people come back to me who told me, Amir, because you called me or because you walked me off the ledge on this particular circumstance, you saved me. To be honest with you, in those moments, I didn't even know that's what was going on. I was just trying to do in my mind and in my heart what I thought was the right thing. Right. So if you use that intuition that God gives you, use that innate sense that you have that says, let me do the humane or the right thing in this moment, trust me, you have no idea what impact that's having on not only that person, but the world. And that's
well, ladies and gentlemen, what he said. There's no more to say. We glad we got a chance to put it in and make it happen again. Thank you, Amir. Thank you, Jeff Fox. Thank you, super producer WEMS Radio. This has been another Motivational Monday. Like I say, I love all y'all. There ain't nothing you can do about it. Till next week. Bye.